Good morning, good evening, good night, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Just Ask Char Advice channel. It's a TGIF affair around here, so stick and stay. Don't you dare go away. The show will start momentarily. Before the show begins, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you about the happenings going on with the Gray Regime family. Starting on Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, it is the Commander, Cerulean Gray, with correction and instruction. All your social, economic, and political ideologies you can find right here with the Commander of the Gray Regime, Cerulean Gray, Mondays on the Gray Regime YouTube channel. And moving on to Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen, you can check out The Warrior, and I'm talking about Just DeAndre, each and every Tuesday, 6:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central, right here on the Just DeAndre channel. It is called The 1/3 Show. My man brings you an eclectic blend of news and articles from around the world and back again, folks, right here on this same YouTube channel, each and every Tuesday, 6:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central. Just DeAndre, another one of those great warriors from the Gray Regime. Moving on to Wednesday, we got to leave the YouTube streets on Wednesday and head on over to Classic R&B Jams Radio. Starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can check out On the Beat and Keep the Beat. At 8 p.m., it is DJ Music and Char Willie with On the Beat, hitting you with some news and hot topics from around the world. Starting at 9:30, Char Willie takes off her talk show hat and slides into the DJ booth with Classic Ruby, where they play a blend of great music from the decades and have some great conversation about each and every song. And don't forget, folks, it's an interactive chat room down over there at Classic R&B Jams as well. So you can come twerk in the chat room, post a few gifs or a few memes, whatever you like doing. Just make sure you check it out at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over there on Classic R&B Jams Radio, On the Beat and Keep the Beat. Soulful sounds all around town, ladies and gentlemen. And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And if you're inclined to, please feel free to leave your financial contributions as well. And for those of you who would like your letter read on the Just Ask Char channel, please send all your emails to justaskchar@gmail.com. That's justaskchar@gmail.com. Now, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, here is the star of the show, Char Willie.
TGIF, everyone. Welcome to another Friday at the Just Ask Char channel on YouTube here. Got advice for you. Guys, send those letters to justaskchar@gmail.com. They're starting to come in. So I'm really happy about that. So no letter is too small. It can be about you, a friend, anyone. Doesn't matter. Get those letters in, everyone, because this channel is actually sponsored by you. You are the content. Yes. But all that aside, I hope you guys are having a wonderful start of a weekend. Fall is here. Do you see those leaves on the ground when you walk in now? Do you see them? You see them turning colors? I know you see them. Oh, yeah, they're out there. It's been happening, but I don't think I mentioned it. But it's getting real. It is getting real out there. Losing sunlight. Oh, boy. Well, daylight, I guess you would say. Hey, it is what it is. It's a change of season. Oh well. Um, couple things I can tell you guys. I just thought about one, but I'll give that tomorrow. The three things I've written down is Prime Day for Amazon. All you guys are like Amazon. Prime Day will be October 13th. So if you got stuff in the wish list that you actually need, and if you don't know anything about it, um, I suggest you make a wish list. Doesn't cost you anything. And when Prime Day comes, which is once a year, go ahead and make your purchases. That phone case that's torn up that you're holding on to, that will be the day to buy it because pretty much everything is on sale. And we need a sale nowadays. It's tough out here. Let's see what else I got for you. September 29th is National Coffee Day. Yes, you have noticed I mention coffee quite often. Yes, I know. But next Tuesday is National Coffee Day. And pretty much every coffee place around the world has participated and they will give you a cup of coffee. Isn't that great? Oh, yes. I'm going to get my free coffee. And then the last thing I want to mention is unemployment. The number of people that applied this week is just phenomenal. It was 870,000. I can believe that because I've had conversations with different people and they're talking about, they're being laid off. Um, it's something. The airlines, it's a lot of different companies. So I do believe that. I'm not sure when this stimulus second check is coming, if it's coming. I think it will, but they've just been dancing around that. I just got tired of trying to check every day. I just said, forget it. I think it'll pop up on my screen when the day comes. But that's it for right now. Um, yeah, that's it. So without further ado, I will bring on the classic Ruby, everyone. Yes, yes. Here she comes.
It's like, hey, Ruby, baby, I got your money, don't you worry. Said, hey, Ruby's got your money. You see, it's like that, right?
Hey.
Making my own theme songs just in case, you know.
All right, now you gone with your bad self.
Why, thank you. That's some dirt off my shoulders. All right, we're ready for today. How you doing today, Char?
I am pretty good. Hearing a lot of noise outside. They're taking the motorcycles out for, I guess, a
Oh
couple
boy.
more spins. But okay.
Oh,
Anyway,
okay.
um,
I like my brain intact and inside of my skull, so that's not going to be for me. But teach their own. Yeah.
right, right, right.
Good luck. Good luck. Okay.
Yeah, and I got my wine over here. Me and
Nice.
me and Vonda, we just clicked our glasses together virtually, and we got a sipping going on. Yes. Mhm.
Hey now, hey. See, I don't have wine, but I do have both my metaphorical and literal tea that I'm sipping on. So we all got a little something, something. Should make
Okay,
for a good
love it.
night, right? Hmm.
Yeah, love it. Well, tonight I got a letter. And when I looked at the date, I said, "Oh, that's a long time ago." It was early January, and well, late January. And I'm like, "Wow, time is really moving," but you know, it
Hmm.
stands still for no one.
Oh, true.
And the title pretty much sums it up. At least that's what I think. I'll see what you think and what others think. So I'll
All
go
right.
ahead and share the screen and get that started and get this conversation popping.
All right, let's do this, son. All right.
All right. Here we go. Today I have a letter from a young woman, and she writes, Dear Char, I am in a 2-year relationship with my boyfriend, and he has an adult daughter that's 21 years old, and I have a son that is 5 years old. He buys his daughter everything that she asks for, whether she needs it or not. She doesn't take care of any of the things that she receives from him. She has totaled 2 cars in the past 4 years. She doesn't work, she's not in school, and she's also completed a cosmetology program last year, and she is not using it. I am concerned for me and my 5-year-old son if we were to move in with him. He asked me during the Christmas season to move in with him because it would be less expensive. He has been helping me out a lot financially, but I think his daughter will continue to drain his wallet if we were to move in. He's now talking about buying her another car now that it is tax season. We were planning a trip in the spring, but look like that may not happen now. What do you think? Thank you so much for your letter. All right.
Well then.
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't it time flying? She said they had something planned, well, hoping to have something planned for the spring, but little did we know about the pandemic was coming. So I'm
Right?
sure that trip was canceled anyway.
So was purchasing that car because DMV's closed, everything was closed. So what you gonna do?
Yeah.
Mm. Boy, it's so weird, when you think about, it's like before COVID and after COVID. Like it's like literally times in history will be remembered for the time before COVID. Remember when we used to just leave our house and just assume everything was open? Just remember that? Like you could just go anywhere, you could talk to people, hug random people you saw in the mall. I haven't seen you forever, girl. And then you hug them. Yeah. Remember when you used to be able to
Right.
do that? That life?
Remember when you used to see all their face?
Right? You didn't have to just guess who someone was based on what their eyes look like. Like, yeah, no. It's just
Right.
it's a different world. Yeah, that's funny. That's a trip almost. Like, well, girl, what about COVID? And it's like, oh, COVID didn't exist then. I understand. You had a completely different life in your head. You thought you were going on a trip. You thought you were going to be able to leave your country. Oh, poor thing. Poor thing.
Right.
The border's still closed. I don't know if we're ever leaving.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. But other than that,
okay.
I think there's a couple questions in this letter that I think are interesting because, you got two different factors here. So you've got the factor of whether or not you agree or disagree with, what this man or how this man is choosing to, treat his adult daughter. Then you've got the question of whether it's her business or not. And then you've got the question of, well, if it is her business, given the relationship, should she be concerned about this or, what should she do? So I feel like this one's an interesting one because there's a bunch of different layers to it that you got to kind of look at and examine and, figure out which parts of it are actually important to answering her question or not. So this is an interesting one. I like this topic. It's a good
It
one.
has layers. It has
Mhm.
layers. I gave her several several things to think about.
Mm-hmm. Give it a think, girl. Give it a think. I think the first thing, which comes to my mind is, and this is where I said, like, is it her business? As in, is it something that she has a right to comment on or change? My answer to that one is real simple. No. You can have your opinions, but at the end of the day, this is his child. She's already grown, and as a man, he has established a pattern of behavior of what he wants to do and how he wants to parent his daughter. And I don't know if she has a mother or not, or what the situation is there, but it does come down to, if you're going to walk into his life, then you're accepting that man as a whole. And part of that man includes the way he runs, a family, a household. This is part of that, you know?
Yeah.
Um, Too often people want to change people, right? Well, he'd be perfect if only. Well, but if only doesn't count. Like the if only is irrelevant. This is who he is. This is how he's going to treat his adult daughter. And if you move in with him, this is how he's going to treat his adult daughter, because this is what he sees as being how a father treats his daughter, right? So are you okay with that? That's if you're not okay with that, or you disagree with that, that's a different question. But the point is that as a man, you can't tell a man how he should treat his wife, how he should treat his daughters, how he should treat his sons, how he should whatever. I mean, you can, but he's a man, and that's his role. So, I think there people get into sticky situations because they want to change. Well, but he shouldn't do that, and he shouldn't this, and he shouldn't that, and okay, but he does. So can you take the good with the bad? Because that's what it's going to be. He's going to support you financially. So you're a grown woman. So is the daughter, right? The difference is, he didn't create you. He didn't put you on this planet, and yet still you're saying he's financially supporting you. You are a grown woman with a child of your own, and this man is supporting you as a grown woman. So his daughter, who is also a grown woman, well, he's supporting her.
Right,
Only
right.
he created her. It's half his fault why she's on this planet. So, I mean, I hear a hypocrite here. I'm sorry, but I do. At the end of the day, you don't live with the man. You're not married to the man. He's just your boyfriend. And yet he financially supports you and your child, not a child he created. And he didn't create you, but he financially helps to heavily financially support you. And you think that's okay. But it's not okay for him to financially support his adult daughter. You think that's wrong.
Mm. Ow. Make me go, ow.
Right? Like, I'm not trying to be a hater here. I'm just pointing out the inconsistencies and hypocrisy with the issue that you're taking to begin with. It's one thing if you're saying, I work really hard, he works really hard for, and we want to combine our forces and get something bigger and better and blah, blah, blah. But no, what he's basically saying is move in with me because it's really too expensive for me to pay both of our rents. So it'd just be easier for me to just pay my rent, and then you live here anyway since I financially support you anyway, right? And you think that's okay. You really think that that's okay because your man should support you, right? That's what you think. But when a girl turns 18, what I guess at that point she stops being her father's problem, starts becoming some random man's problem. Some random man should be paying for her life and taking care of her and treating her to the things she wants and needs. Is that the rules? Look, I'm trying to figure out here. Like, you're not working, you're not supporting yourself, you're not saying, hey, listen, I want to, build a legacy with this guy, but I feel like if we combine forces, he's going to be draining his side. It's not going to be equal anymore as far as what we're inputting monetarily. You're saying basically, well, I don't think he's going to be able to give me enough of what I want if he's so busy paying for this other adult woman. But she's not just another adult woman. She's his child.
Yep. I said the same thing. And let's not forget, she has a child as well.
Right.
Mm-hmm. She has a child as well. So I did mention, what if he was to say something about the way you spend your money on your child, on your son?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you know darn well she would not like that at all.
Nope,
We
not even a
already
little.
know that. Yeah, we already know that. But some women and their sons, oh, you better not say nothing. Mm-mm.
Right, right. Or what if he decides to start telling you about how you can and can't discipline your kid that came out of you, right? But he decided that he can tell you what you can and can't do with your child, period. Just period. Because that's in essence, she's running wild and she's not this and she's not that and she's not focused, right? Okay, so what if he said the same thing about your kid? Right, and now he's going to start disciplining your kid in a way that you disagree with, which is why you don't do it. Is that okay with you? From some guy you're dating, you don't even live with, you're not married to, isn't established as a parental figure inside of this relationship, like people, again,
Mm-hmm.
it's the hypocrisy of it, right? You're being a hypocrite. If she didn't have a child, she had a career she was pursuing and whatever, well, then I could look at things differently. But the fact of the matter is she's being a hypocrite about it. And I understand, you want financial security and whatever, but part of, as a woman, like, take a step back for a second and think about if it was your daughter. So
Mm-hmm.
y'all had this daughter and now your daughter came of age, or when your son comes of age, does he get abandoned at 18? That's it? You're not paying for nothing for him anymore? Like, is that actually the way you believe in life? Or again, have you confused things in your head, and you're looking at the daughter like she's a romantic rival instead of his child? Because there's a difference,
Mm-hmm.
right? She's not the ex-wife, she's not the ex-girlfriend, she's not the baby mama, she's the daughter. That's what it is. And it always makes it hard in these situations when people have these teen pregnancies and teen children, right? Because then you're so close to the kids in age. Rival, and he's spending all his money on her instead of me, and blah blah blah. But that's not what it is. You need to shrink that kid down in your head till she's like 7 or whatever in your head, and recognize that that's how he sees her. That's like his legacy. He put that on earth. He's responsible for her. I was watching this thing. I can't even remember where it was. But I was watching this thing, and this guy was talking about the fact that when his daughter turned a certain age, it was around the teen years, like when you're starting to get into the tens or whatever. Um, he's having a very special diamond ring made. Diamond, just like you'd have a diamond ring, like an engagement ring. Um,
Uh-huh.
Very special diamond ring worn, and he's putting that on her left hand. And the only time that will ever come off of her left hand on her ring finger is when a man comes and asks for her hand in marriage, and he approves of him. That's it. So, the giving my daughter away thing for him is very, very real. Until then, it is his responsibility to protect and provide for his daughter, just the way a husband would, just the way any man in her life should. So, you know what? Whatever she needs, whatever she wants, he takes care of it, because he made that promise to her from birth. And his responsibility to that only ends when an appropriate man, and he has to confirm that an appropriate man is able to step up and give her and treat her with all of that same respect and care and kindness and whatever that he's given his daughter her whole life, right? Oh, it
Uh-huh.
was Rebecca Lynn Pope's husband was doing a live stream the other day. And, I thought about that. I'm like, see, now that is the right mindset of a man, because, little girls, you have your little kid time with, grown male figures. But, as an adult woman, now you're starting to really process things. So you need to understand, if you want a woman to kind of have traditional values in a way, and you also want a woman, your young daughters or nieces or whatever, to find, good husbands and not to fall into bad traps and whatever, well, then they need to understand that. They need to understand what it is to be taken care of. to be supported, to be guided, and whatever. And he's making that promise and quite literally putting that ring on her finger. Yeah, no, this one's mine. That's what he's basically saying. She's mine. So everyone who dates her, no, that's mine. Just so we're all clear. So if you would like a shot at marrying my daughter, you want to be able to have children with my daughter and whatever, you got to get through me first, right? And that's what it seems like to me. This father might be a little bit of a pushover and whatever. That's why I said, like, that's a separate issue. But it seems like to me that's what he thinks in his head. She's still a kid. And she's still young and she's still a baby, his baby, until the point that she has a husband. And when she has an appropriate husband that he's accepted, he will hand over that financial responsibility to their family. But for now, the family, the male role model in her family, the head of the family that she's currently in is him. So that's his job.
Okay. Let's see. Vonda has joined the panel. Let's see what she has to weigh in on.
Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey, Char. Hey, Ruby. Thanks for
girl,
having me.
Welcome.
Okay. There are several layers going on here. Okay. This is like an onion, and let's peel it very carefully. Okay. First and foremost, now he has started to take some financial responsibility for the woman. Okay, so he's financially supporting her now. So now she has a stake in his pockets. And she is seeing that, okay, well, he has this daughter who is, more or less draining her father. That is her father. Granted, that is her father, and he can do whatever the hell he'd like to do with his money. But the whole thing changes. It changes if she moves into that house. If she has a problem with it now, she should not move into that house because it's not going to get any better. At some point, this father is going to have to wean his daughter from his pockets. Because I'm going to say this. Now, her son is 5 years old. So
yes.
It's a little bit of a different situation. Now, if her son was 18 years old and he was doing the same thing, I guarantee you that man would not like it. He would not like to see this 18, 21-year-old man running over his mom. And you're right, Char. If she's one of those doting moms, she may not want to be told anything about her son. So that is something that they're going to have to discuss, because now that this man is financially supporting this woman and he's saying, hey, it's going to be easier on my pockets to take care of you if you move in with me. But she already has a problem with the financial attention that he is giving to his daughter.
Yes.
And they're going to have to settle that before she moves into that house, or she needs to stay right where she is. Now, if she is dependent on his financial support, that's an even deeper, a deeper hole that's being dug. He's setting himself up, and the two women that he loves are going to be pitted against each other. Bottom line, that is just a given, because with the daughter, I don't care, daddy, who you dating. I'm still your daughter. So I'm still daddy's girl. And then her, on the other hand, is like, okay, well, I know that, it's been you and her, but another woman has moved into the scene. There's going to be conflict. There is most definitely going to be conflict. You can already see the conflict in her letter, and they haven't even moved in. So if they're not living together, and she does not depend on his financial support, at the end of the day, it's none of her business what he does with his money with his daughter.
But you see, that's the twisted thing, though, Vonda. She does rely on his financial support, even though they don't live together. And so tell me how that's acceptable to her, that she should be allowed to live off of this man's financial support. Her and her child, that's not his, should be able to live off this man's financial support, But what he's doing to support his daughter financially is wrong because she's grown now.
Well, it's not even that he really shouldn't be supporting his daughter. He can still support his daughter, but I think what it sounds like to me, what it sounds like the woman is saying is that the daughter, where is she learning her responsibility? She's taking advantage of her father, you know, and at some point she needs to adult. I mean, you're at 21, at 18, you're an emancipated adult. At 21, you're an adult. You know, so at some point, you know, is he gonna have to wait until she gets 37 and gets married and some man takes her off his hands and then that's when she leaves the house?
Yes. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. But some men make that promise to their daughters, and actually, that's actually a more common practice overall than the opposite is, right? Where men take that financial responsibility, especially for young girls. They don't do it for young men because young men want to forge their own path. So it's normally that men don't want to follow anything and they don't want to be supported by their parents because they want to feel like men, right? They don't want to feel like kids and blah, blah, blah. But overall, I mean, that's the promise, you know, that a lot of parents, I mean, some cultures, they don't. Some cultures, they say the second you're grown, you're your own problem. But, you know, a lot of people really do say, hey, listen, until you've got your thing together, until you are a family of your own and whatever, you're on my head, you know, you're on my responsibility until you figure out life. I'm going to give you that freedom I never had to run around and try to figure out who you are and what you're about because I didn't get that and blah blah blah. I mean, some people do that. You know, I guess to me, the way that it seems to me though, and this is where my issue comes in, is that this woman, for the last 2 years, she does not live with this man. She has a small child, and yet she thinks it's okay for her to be financially dependent on this man and that this man should be taking care of her and her kid. They do not live together. They are not married. And that is not his child. And she thinks that that's more acceptable than him taking care of his own child because his own child is no longer a child. But she's not a child either. Do you see what I'm saying? Like that, I feel like that's very hypocritical of her to say, and not only is it hypocritical, but I feel like it's very wrong because, you know, he didn't bring her or her child into this world, so he has no responsibility to them or accountability to them. He has an accountability to his daughter. That's who he owes that money to, not her, not her life, not her need for a vacation. He owes it to his daughter.
But that's something that he wants to do though. This is the woman that he's in a relationship with. He chose to be with her and he is choosing to financially support her. This woman didn't go out and find this man and said, hey, I got this kid. I need for you to support us. It sounds to me like the man he's able. He got it like that, you know, as they would say.
Right.
So, you know, he made the decision to do it. So that's why I'm saying that there is this fine line with the daughter. But like I said, if she has a problem with it, she need not move into that house.
Well, yeah, no, that 100, we 100% agree on that point. But
when people move in, then they move closer, and it may lead to marriage. You know, and I don't think grown or still in the house, the children should not run over the parents. And at some point, she does have a say. She will have a say when it comes to that. Now, while they're living in separate households, a different story because they're not sharing their finances at this point. I mean, he's providing her with some financial support, you know, however it is he's giving it to her. You know, I don't know how he's giving it to her. But when you move into the household, things merge. Bank accounts merge, that sort of thing. And if we're going to be doing that, then we're going to be discussing finances. So if I want to buy little Johnny, you know, a little $300 power truck or car, you know, he's going to have a say so about that because, you know, we're pulling our money. So if you want to go out and buy your wayward daughter a third car after she done already totaled 2 cars in 4 years, we're going to have a discussion about that. There's a big difference with that.
I think you're right. I think there absolutely is. But again, my issue still comes down to, right, is that now, and this is where I said we have to separate the two issues of whether we think what he's doing is right or wrong. We have to separate that from her and what she thinks and how she feels about it. Because currently, right, you can't say that you're feeling a way based on a situation that might happen in your life 5 years from now, right? Because it's not currently in your life. Your finances are not tied to this man insofar as you've invested stuff and he's invested stuff, or you're married, or you even live together, right? So currently, she's the things that she's complaining about, probably he doesn't have as much disposable income to spoil her with because he's spoiling his daughter. And for her, she thinks that's wrong. She deserves to be spoiled because that's her man. But see, now to me, that's where I'm saying, no, she's got it all the way messed up. That's not the way life works, because you know what? Everyone deserves to find love and find relationships in their lives and so on and so forth. Right. But when you bring a child into this world, I mean, you have children, so you know, right? I mean, I don't have children, but I have a mama. And, I have parents that tell me, and I know they will always see me like I'm their 7-year-old, right? I am their child. So, and they brought me into this world, and they will always feel that level of, you can depend on me and I will take care of you and blah, blah, blah. They will always feel that, right? It's me as an adult who strikes out into the world and says, nope, I don't need your parenting anymore. I'm going to go be an adult. I'm going to go suffer my own mistakes, blah, blah, blah. But them as parents, they should feel that way about me. They should feel like, yeah, I'm 21. I still see 21-year-olds as a baby now, right? And I'm 36. I see 21. They're babies. So as a father, is she, like I said, is she a little spoiled? Yeah, probably. But to see it as like no, I'm entitled to that money. I'm entitled to that treatment. Right?
Now, Ruby,
to me, that's where
that's where I conflict with you on that. Where in that letter where she said, I am entitled to the money that you're spoiling your daughter with? Where did you see that at?
Well, when she said, we're planning to have a vacation in the spring, but now he's saying he's gonna buy his daughter a car, and I don't see how I'm gonna get my vacation if he buys her that car. That's where I heard it. You see what I'm saying? So
well, that's our vacation. I'm entitled to that vacation.
No, you're not entitled to see it. You see it? You see it?
I'm entitled to that vacation.
Whoa. But she's not working. She didn't work a day. He's been working the whole year. And she thought he was entitled. She thought she was entitled to his tax check. But he said, no, what I'm planning on doing with my tax check is buying my daughter a car. And she went, hold on. I wanted a vacation with your tax check money. That's what's happening here.
But he already promised. It sounds like he already promised her the vacation, and now he's saying, "Oh, baby, we're not gonna be able to go on our vacation because I'm gonna buy Kimberly a third car after she done wrecked the other 2 cars."
Yeah, but they don't live together.
I feel some type of way about that. I think she has a right to feel some type of way about that.
But Vonda, they don't live together. They're not engaged. They're not married. Right?
He's asking her to move into this crazy mess of him spoiling his grown daughter.
True, but as of right now, they're not. So what I'm saying, before he even asked her, it seems like he's asking her right now, right? But before that, right, she felt entitled to his money and what he does with it, even though they don't live together, they're not engaged, they're not married, and he financially supports her and her child.
He gave her that entitlement, though. She didn't go and take it. She didn't kidnap it. He gave it to her.
No. She didn't give him. He didn't give her entitlement. He gave her access. There's a difference. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to help you out. Girl, you come to me and you ask me for things. Of course, I want to help you out. Hey, you're my girlfriend. Of course, I want to, do nice things with you and whatever. That does not make you entitled to his money. That does not make you entitled to, in a year and a half, I'm entitled to you buying me something I want a year from now. That doesn't make you entitled to that. And to me, a child of yours, a child you put out on this planet, is more entitled to you spoiling them than a random person you are just dating. Not
random.
Yes. Random.
Random.
Yes, I did. Yes. I said random. Because you ain't married.
Ruby.
You ain't married. You ain't engaged. You don't live together.
Relationship with this woman. He is in a committed relationship with this woman, and they have to learn how to merge their lives. they're going to have to learn how to merge their lives. And at some point, something needs to be said. You know, I agree. The girl is 21, you know, she's still young, but at some point, when do you stop buying the 20-something a car after car after car that she keeps wrecking and she has no job?
Yeah, so you think that at the end of the day, and here's the thing, and I 100%, the reason why I would disagree with you is because right now her child's young. But I think when her child grows up, well, you think she's going to be like, sorry, you're 20, you're 21 years old now. You don't deserve my help anymore. Sorry, son, figure it out on yourself. Bullshit. The only reason why she is saying this is because that A is not her daughter, B because currently she is competing for that same pool of money. And at the end of the day, that's where I'm like, no, you need to check yourself and see where your motivation's coming from. Because to me, her motivations are not coming from concern for him and his finances. It's not even coming from concern for whether or not she'll have a good life because he's going to spend himself destitute. No, it just has to do with, to me, it really sounded like it has to do with these extra perks, not the good life she gets to live on a daily basis. But you know what? He's wasting extra perks money on his daughter when he should be spending it on me. She's already grown. She's part of his old life. She's from the old woman. You know what? Let her go be an adult on her own and spoil me and my child rotten. That's what it sounds like to me. Sorry, that's what it sounds like.
That at all. I can't. Did we hear the same letter?
Yes, man. Yes, we did.
Yes. Different letter to Ruby than you read to me.
Must be you missed the beginning. Vonda must have missed the first couple minutes.
I think you missed it, Vonda.
Right?
It sounds like she's concerned that is going to lead to problems.
Yes.
She is concerned, yes, but what are the problems she is concerned about? That is where we're disagreeing. I don't think she cares at all about his actual financial well-being. She only cares about her. Is she going to get spoiled rotten? How big is her diamond ring going to be? You know, how many vacations does she get to have? Does she get the fur coat she really wanted? That's what she's concerned about. And if he keeps wasting all this money, spoiling his daughter and giving his daughter a good life, where will all her extra money come from? And God forbid, what about when her son needs things when he's older? How will he ever afford the three of them?
You're padding the letter. I didn't hear anything about it.
Well, we got Chandra on the panel. Let's see what he heard, and we'll come back to you guys.
Hey, Chandra.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
If I may be allowed to put on my Chelsea boots for a moment.
Oh, go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Right ahead.
So this woman, she got a child. She's not currently working, and she found herself a high-value man. And now she thinks she's entitled to tell this high-value man what to do.
Yep. See? 2 against 1, Vonda. 2 against 1.
No, this is me with my Chelsea boots on, right? Red Rooster Chelsea boots. Louboutins. So, you know, this is the problem that a lot of these women have because they come into these relationships thinking that they can tell this man what to do with his money. But she hasn't brought any value to the relationship. She's not bringing...
Wait a minute.
She's not bringing the degree. She's not bringing a skill set. As a matter of fact, she's bringing another mouth to feed to the relationship.
Okay.
It sounds like to me this man is going to have a heart attack. Because
so what's going on here is, this is me with my Chelsea boots on now. This man needs to get rid of her because this is not a fitting woman for a high value man.
What?
No,
okay, you know what?
Chelsea boots. Take it off Chelsea boots.
Okay, right? I was like, well, let's hear Chandra. Let's hear Chandra. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Taking off the Chelsea boots. Okay, yeah, she in the wrong. First of all, she's in the wrong because she's coming into the situation and she's trying to tell him what he needs to do with his money. If she wasn't reliant on him, or if she was able to support herself, then she might be able to have some kind of say in terms of not necessarily being able to tell him what to do, but being able to have the discussion. At this point, she's dependent on him just as much as the daughter is.
Right.
Now, that being said, we have to understand that she could be just as simply the beneficiary of this man's goodwill. Like, you know, she's in this relationship with this dude. She hasn't said how long she hasn't worked for or how long she's been struggling to feed her child, right? But this man came along. He's like, "Oh, you got a child? Oh, you were in a relationship? Okay, I'm gonna take care of you."
Mm-hmm. Right.
That being said,
Mhm.
does that mean this man should sacrifice any of the care he gives to his daughter for her?
Exactly. Exactly.
Now, I also want to throw another wrench in there, right? So let's say this man drops his daughter tomorrow, right? He listens to this woman and says, "You know what? I'm gonna cut my daughter off. She doesn't get any more money from me." You know what that daughter's gonna do?
Mm.
There's a 6
What?
in 10 chance that she becomes an insathot.
Mm.
Why are you guys so extreme?
No, we're not.
No,
It's
no,
called
no.
reality. It's called reality because
She
what
becomes an
happens is
insathot, or she gets a sugar daddy, or she gets into a relationship with a boyfriend prematurely and ends up living with him because daddy ain't paying for my way of life, so I gotta find somebody to pay for my way of life.
13. Okay, yeah, but she's
no,
not.
no, 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 Vonda. See, the thing is, what you have to recognize is this, right? First of all, and we have to be clear on this because this woman who wrote in knows this, right? And no disrespect to you for writing in. I'm just telling you like it is. I've actually been the grown adult, and in this case, it was my mom marrying a man, and having been in this position, been in this situation, I see it very differently because I've seen various examples of it. Now, what it comes down to is this man, she went and found herself a man whose love language involves gifts, money, and stuff like that. He's not the cuddling one who just, no, he's the one who provides. It's what he does for love. Right? So he pays for things. He gets you the gifts. He paves the way for you. That is the way he shows his love. That is the love he has given to his daughter. He's given her a very cushy, easy kind of life, everything she wants to try to do, and she wants to flit around in life and try this and fail at that and fail at that. She hasn't figured out her path yet, right? And he has paved a way for her to do that. If he drops her tomorrow, she's a grown woman now at this point, and that's the only coping skill she knows. So that's what she's going to do. She's going to go find another daddy to fill that hole, because right now she hasn't developed any other skills about how life should be. Right? She's young. She's probably beautiful. And I say that honestly based on the way that this woman's letter reads to me, because I think that if she wasn't young and beautiful, she wouldn't trigger that competition in this woman's head subconsciously. And so that's what she would do. So she would become an instant thought or whatever, blah, 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 because she would need that kind of free support until she figured out what the hell she was doing in life. And you're right, she probably would get into relationships or marriages prematurely in order to substitute for daddy. And so,
Okay.
and that would be his fault because he set her up to be like that and then just dropped her.
Can I make the Ruby quote of the day?
Mm-hmm.
She's going to find another daddy to fill that hole. Thank you very much.
It's true.
Ta-da.
Well, if that woman is not working, she absolutely has no leg to stand on. She has 0 legs to stand on.
Right.
She's financially dependent on him, and he chooses to take care of his daughter. It's out of her hands. So she needs to think very, very carefully. If this already bothers her now, she needs to think very, very carefully about moving in with this man. Because it's not going to get any better. He's not going to not take care of his daughter. He's going to continue to take care of his daughter. And he's not going to let her tell him that he shouldn't be taking care of his daughter when she's not even contributing financially. You're not even putting in on this. If you're not putting in on this, you have a very limited say. Very limited.
Very. Especially because you have a child that this man is also feeding for you. So, and I want to add to this. Listen, I hope she's listening, because I'll tell you, this is what I would tell if the man wrote in. This is what I would tell him. I would tell him to drop you in a hot second. And the reason why is because any woman who comes into a man's life and makes him choose between his daughter or his mother is not the right woman for you. Okay? No woman should come in and make it competition between her and your family members to the point where you have to choose between caring for and loving for her or caring for and loving for them, as though they are sexual competition mates, because they're not. And if she's in that place in her life where that's the way she sees things, then she has some growth she needs to do. She's got some counseling she needs to do to work on herself and work out why it is that she feels that a man's mother or a man's daughter is competition for her. Now, from what she's saying, because again, it's not like she's saying, oh, they've been living together, they can't eat, they can't pay their bills, they can't. No, it seems like he's got it. He's got it to flaunt it. He's got it to take care of everybody and everything, right? And again, it sounds like she's arguing, she's quibbling over the perks in life, right? The extra special things. Well, maybe we could take that one step up, so on and so forth. Take it away from your daughter so you can give it to me. That really is how it's coming across. And again, it comes down to, if that's how you come into a relationship, right? I would tell any man, no, you can't move in with that woman. You need to not be with that woman. That's not the kind of woman you need. If you are a man who has, close bonds with your mother, with your children, whatever, you need a woman who loves and respects that too, who doesn't come in as an adversary.
Well, I would say that if she's considering moving in and this is a concern for her about the money that he's spending on his daughter, then maybe she should bring some more money in the relationship.
Right.
I don't agree with her being so concerned about the money he spends on his daughter, because that's his child. Whether he was 70 and she was 45, it's still his child, and he does what he want to do. That's his child.
Yeah.
And what I'll just mention this, and then I'll be quiet and let you guys talk a little bit more. I did mention to her that he this is a possibility. He could be calling himself making up for lost time, because you think about it, a lot of men don't get a chance to see their children all the time when they're not with the mother. So we don't know that. We really don't know. And he could just call himself making things up, making up for lost time, rather. It's a possibility. And would you really want to interrupt that?
Right.
So, can I take y'all to church for a second?
Yeah,
go ahead.
Okay. When the Lord gives you a good man and you dare complain, you do not deserve that good man, because this man pays the bills. This man feeds your kids. This man, he said he moved you into his house. No rent, no charge. And now you want to complain. Girl, you got a good man. And now you want to complain. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I love the point that Char just made, because in my case, right, so like I said, roles are a little bit reversed here, right? But you got Mama Ruby. Everyone knows how much I love her. But there's about like 10 years of my life, seriously, like my parents like outright just abandoned me. I was just alone. I had amazing parents. That's why I also know like how easy it is to fall off of a good track. I was like 15 years old, and then suddenly I woke up one day, I had no parents. I went from having parents who really fought so many stereotypes. They fought against the grain to be good parents and to put me first and blah, blah, blah. And then for two completely different reasons, they both just dropped me, and I was suddenly alone for like a decade, right? And things went really bad in so many different ways, and so, eventually I was like 22, 23, my mom kind of apologized. We started working on a relationship, so on and so forth, right? So by the time my mom then met her husband, me and my mom were like okay-ish. We were working on fixing things, and we had gotten to a place where we were pretty good. But yeah, there was a lot of making up, I think, in a way, right? And in a way, I kind of knew it was wrong, but at the same time, I knew it was right. Like it was like I'm grown. I probably shouldn't let my mom do this for me, but at the same time, I kind of felt like, yeah, well, you owed me this when I was 15, so I'm gonna take it now. And in a way, it was a little bit penance to say that, and I needed it. I'll be real, I needed that emotionally, mentally, I needed it. I probably would not have healed as quickly, and our relationship wouldn't have healed as quickly without it. Now, was I quite as ridiculous as this girl? No. But that being said, everyone needs different things for different reasons. So when you say that, that's absolutely true. You don't know what their past history was, and why this parent feels compelled to do what they're doing. Just like you don't know, and maybe you don't understand. You've only been around for 2 years, right? He might feel compelled, and he might be downright logical in the reason why he thinks it's okay for her to flit around all confused, right? Because if he wasn't around, and the mama wouldn't shit, and he knew that he shouldn't have abandoned her with the mom, but he did anyway because you know what, he wanted to chase tail instead, or and so now he finally came back into her life, but she's a little too old, and so she's a little bit lost. And then he feels, hey, well, that's partially my fault, and I'm willing to fund her trying to find her way. And you might disagree with that. Even if you got the whole messy story, you might disagree with it, but it's not on you to tell him whether he is right or wrong, right? Because that's their relationship. And to be perfectly honest, in the course of a relationship, he will be the head of the household you're moving into. He's the one who's financially funding this, and he's financially funding you. You aren't going to be contributing to that. And so if you are saying, I am willing for him to be the head of my household, you are also saying, well, okay, I'm willing to fall underneath your leadership. And therefore, what you're doing is you're saying you believe in him and trust in him that he can manage your household or your household finances, and budgeting all of that you won't be led off of a cliff, right? So if that's the case and you believe that that's true, then it's none of your business, honestly, or what he does with the extra money he's budgeting towards his daughter. It has nothing to do with you as long as you are taken care of in your household. And if you can't understand that, if you can't accept that, well then, as everyone has already said, you shouldn't be in this relationship. You should be nowhere near it. In fact, I think despite the fact, even if you think you can tell yourself now, oh, you get it now. No, you don't. Don't move forward. I think the only reason why you'd move forward is because you would hope, well, she's getting older and older, and eventually at some point it will end. That's how you will see it.
And it will set her up and matchmaker or something. If it's really that big of a problem for her, she better try to introduce her to a nice, eligible young man or something.
See, but nah, because I think, you know what, this is
married off.
This is foundational, though, right? They have a foundational difference in the way that they're seeing life right now in regards to one of their children. I don't feel, to me, that's not something that you're going to repair. Like, I understand it might be a little bit scary. It's going to, now you're going to have to go find some money elsewhere and whatever, and, start rebuilding a life. But I think that's what she should do. This is not for her. This relationship with this particular man, you found a good man. You found a well-off man. You found a man who cares. You found a man who wants to treat you good and treat you right and treat your kid right and whatever. But at the end of the day, this isn't for you. Not this particular relationship. Not the way this man thinks. Unfortunately for her, though, and here's the catch-22 of it all. Unfortunately for her, to find a man who doesn't think like he does towards his daughter is finding a man who isn't going to be spoiling her rotten either. So I'm just saying, you know what I mean? That's how he is with women in his life. So if you want a man who likes to spoil the women he loves rotten because you want to be one of those women he spoils, well, then you're going to have to learn how to share or find one who doesn't have a daughter and whose mother died a long time ago. It's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, if she's not putting in anything financially into the pot, that's gonna have to be something where she's gonna have to bite her tongue. She's just gonna have to hold her silence and go on about her business. But if this is something that really wrenches in her gut, in her soul, and she just can't stand it, there is no way in hell she should move in. They should move in together. And like you said, she should rethink the relationship, or, who knows, he may even rethink it. Oh, you feel really that way about my daughter? Maybe I need to look at you again.
Right.
He feeds a child. He
What?
feeds her child. Not his.
Yeah. Right.
He feeds her child. And
Right.
she's talking about vacations.
Right? You need enough money to feed my child and send me on vacation. Well, what about my child? I don't care. Your child grown. Well, she grown too. Like, I'm sorry. That really pisses me off. I wouldn't be real. It really does. If she didn't have a kid, I would maybe be approaching this topic slightly differently. Because I'd be like, okay, well, you don't understand and blah, blah, blah. But no, you do, because you have a kid. So what you think when your kid turns 18, that's it? Now you're gonna see him like he's an adult and you're gonna wash your hands of him? That's what it is? Like you're gonna be good?
No, she's not going to do that.
Of course not. And she's not gonna expect him to. And if he tries to start laying down harder rules and stuff, she's gonna be like, come on, he's still a kid, he's only 18. So you know what I mean? That's why I say no, she sees this daughter as a rival. She sees this daughter as competition for resources. She's not seeing the daughter as a daughter. And that's an important factor too. We don't know what's going on as far as the mother, right? So we don't know. I mean, does she have a living mother currently, right? Does like what's the situation over there, first of all? And secondly, what we don't know is what are their ages? Like we know how old the daughter is. We don't really know how old anyone else is. And I think that that's important too. Because if she's
And
like a lot younger than
I
him,
was going to say that, and if she's younger than him with this, young 5-year-old child.
yeah, she might not understand it or see it from the same light as say a woman with just a few years. Yeah, honestly, like under 40 and over 40 can sometimes make a huge difference in the way that you see things.
Let's say she's 30 years old. That just makes her 9 years older than the daughter. So she might be having quite a bit of jealousy.
Right.
And that very well could be.
Okay, now I'm going to throw in from the socioeconomic perspective on this one.
All right.
So people who have it, aka middle class and above, especially in certain, demographics which have a higher propensity of, six-figure households, they don't have a problem spoiling their children because they have it to spoil their children with. These are people that we're talking about. They don't have a problem paying for their children's college, taking care of, because they have it. And very often when a lot of us come from a slightly more impoverished background, we see them and we're looking at that like, oh, that child is so spoiled. But isn't that the reason why parents work their rear ends off to give their children a better future than they had?
Yes.
That's exactly what it is. I mean, I didn't grow up, with a silver spoon in my mouth, and there were tough times. So when I did have my child, I told myself that my child was not going to have the same struggles that I had as a child. And he did not have not one of them. But the thing is that because he didn't have those struggles, there's a certain character that wasn't,
built
in him. That I was built with that character because of my struggles. So at some point you really have to look at the whole picture. It's okay to have some struggles. It's okay to do without, because it builds a layer of character that not having to ever want for anything does not give you.
That is absolutely true. But you know what? I'm going to say this. If you look at what being an impoverished, generally poor, not like super impoverished, but being in the poor part of the community means now versus what it used to mean 30 years ago, radical night and day difference between what you would have in your house, whatever. Like, still, everyone's got a cell phone. Even if you poor as hell and can't afford to eat, everyone's got TVs in the house. Everyone's got internet. Everyone's got this. Everyone's got that. Like, there are things now that, if you looked at a certain socioeconomic level, right, those people had nothing, right? They barely have food. They if they wanted to see TV, they had to go to someone else's house, blah, 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 blah. Right. So what it means to be, poor now, the meanings have changed in some ways, especially when it comes to having certain items, having certain kinds of clothing, so on and so forth. And so it's like, when you just don't let your kids have things, right, without meaning, it doesn't really teach them a whole lot. I think in this day and age, you have to teach them in different ways now, just because of the easy button in life. You know what I mean? And so ultimately it comes down to, if you have, for some reason, spoiled your kids or given them everything they wanted or needed or whatever it is up until the point where they're adults, it's going to take a lot more than just pulling away that support system to help build any type of character in them. They're going to need a lot more than that. And I think that, just ripping the carpet out from under them, you're doing them a major disservice, and they're just going to screw up their entire life and then end up, going through every bad thing you were hoping to protect them from, without actually building the character. They're just going to be bitter. Right. So I think maybe should he, if we're talking about the father now, should he extricate himself from doing this? Probably. But does he just rip the carpet out? Nah, he's got to build some character along with it. I wish DeAndre was here, because he spoke about things like this with his sons. I'm going to give you a due date. I'm giving you a deadline. Okay, you think you're grown? Okay, you got 8 months for this. And then literally on the day, 8 months to the day, he woke him up. All right, you're moving out, right? Well, there wasn't really a plan. Oh, well, you should have been planning. You knew. I warned you, like, every week and whatever. Bye. And so you give them time, though. You don't just sit there, oh, well, and now it's ripped away and now I never talk to you again. You know what I mean? Like, DeAndre, right. The way he explains it is so good, because it's like, I'm going to build up some character into you because, you spoiled, because you didn't have to live the hard life I did. But, now I'm going to kick you into gear. And so I think that's the thing. It's like, there needs to be some balance. And I feel like this woman doesn't want there to be balance, again, because it's just more about her wanting to finally get spoiled in her life.
But see, that's where the balance come of having the two parents, because I'm very sure that, DeAndre, he meant what he said. And, when the time came, it was the due date. It's time to do what you need to do. But I bet you, on the other hand, the mother would have wanted her child to stay. That's why, you can be a single parent and you can raise a child. But that balance of having the two parents, because there were certain things that my husband did with my son that I would have done completely different because of the way that I think, because of me as a woman, the way that I am, the way that I nurtured my child. I probably would have overdone it. I would have overdone it. Whereas he stepped in, like, DeAndre, hey, 8 months is up. I would have said 8 months, and then he'd have been like, oh, 8 months is here, Mom. I'm not ready. Okay. I would have said, okay. Like, okay, well, I'll give you a couple more months. But my husband, on the other hand, was like, no, It's time for him to go. This is what we decided. He knew what this date was. He knew it was coming. He should have prepared himself. We talked about it. There were, intermittent times where, it was spoken about, and he's not prepared, but that's not on us. He's a grown man. It's time for him to go. And that actually happened. My husband did that. And my heart was wrenching, because I would have been like, oh no, you could stay a couple more weeks, but get it together.
My baby.
Right?
Together. But my husband was like, no, and he meant it. So either I was going to try to baby this man child that needed to be on his own, because that's just what it was, or I was gonna sit up there and fight and cause a dissension with my husband, or I was gonna let him. This was his decision. This is what it was gonna be, and I was gonna have to accept it. because it was the right thing to do in this particular instance.
Right.
And in this instance, it was. And I look back on it now and I go, yeah, it was the right decision to make. But I'm not going to even lie. I wouldn't have let, he'd still been there. Yeah, you could stay, you know, because that's your baby.
Right.
You know, and I always say, you know, if I were a single mom, you know, and had raised him by myself, you know, we'd be living together right now, you know. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that probably is not a good thing, you know.
Right.
So, you know, he did step in. So we don't know what's going on with this mother, you know, and how this child, you know, is in his life, you know, and if this is guilt that he's giving to her. So there is no balance. And then it's even worse, you know, if this chick that quote unquote he's loving, he's taking care of her and her child, has a problem with his daughter. You know, that's even worse. So my thing is that I think the two of them, I mean, if this woman is sincere, you know, you were talking about fur coats and, you know, me. I mean, if she's really that selfish, there's no amount of conversation that's going to work. But if she's genuinely concerned about the daughter taking advantage of her dad, you know, and maybe needing to be on her own, because who knows, maybe this girl probably had it a little rougher. And by the time she was 21, she was on her way to being a mama, you know, with this baby, you know, like I said, she might be 27, 28 years old, 30, who knows?
Right.
You know? So I think at the most they need to sit down and talk. If she's really concerned about this man and this is really a true love relationship, you know, of understanding, she really does not have a say so because she has no she's not financially supporting anything.
Right.
You know, and they're not married. That's not his wife. You know, he's taking care of her. So they need to just talk about it, say, hey, you know, these are my concerns, you know, only because maybe of where she came from in life, you know, she was a little bit further ahead at 21. But like we say, there could be factors involved why this girl is, you know, kind of wayward, you know, and daddy's girl, you know.
Right. I mean, for all we know, and see, that's the thing. It's like, for all we know, he's providing balance because this mama has been horrible to his daughter her whole life, right? She was jealous of her. She's one of those mamas. We don't know, right? I mean, he seems to attract women who naturally have that competitive nature with women, i.e., the one he's with now. Sorry. So, you know, maybe that's the case, and he wants to give her some extra love and attention and whatever because he knows how hard she's got it on her, you know, with her mom. She doesn't have a, you know, a compatriot in life who's, you know, whatever. She's got, you know, an enemy. So, I mean, or again, maybe the mother passed away. I mean, we don't know. That's the thing with these letters, man. It's so, some parts of it are so open. And the interpretation that we have from our own lives, we put it in there.
Yeah.
And then, you know, that's where we're coming from. Well, I'm just filling up all these holes. So, you know, please, again, I want to say personally, right? Because I know I'm being harsh as hell. You know, so I want to tell this woman, like, please don't, you know, be offended because I'm not trying to attack you or put you down as a human being. Right? Like I said, what did I say there? I said, listen, if I'm right about everything, you know, you're feeling the hit dogs will holler thing and you sitting there and you're making a video blog to just rant and rave about what a stupid bitch I am and whatnot. I'll put it this way, right? And that's why I said, I'm like, well, you might need some counseling if you are in that type of competitiveness with every man's mom and sister and whatever. You want a man who treats you good, but you need him to reject all other feminine energy around him, even his relations, because it makes you jealous and, you know, sparks that. That's not actually good. That's not actually natural, right? This is why you hear people say, oh, you know, you're not losing a son, you're gaining a daughter, and vice versa. That's how it's actually supposed to be in a healthy dynamic, right? You don't want to be the one that is the unhealthy thing in this otherwise healthy dynamic. So, you know, if you are feeling that way, you're feeling competitive with his daughter, and to be fair, she might be being competitive with you. You know why? Because she's a child, and that's what children do with their parents. They get jealous, right? I don't want to share my daddy. I don't want to share my mom, right? They do that, right? That's what kids do. They're supposed to do that. But you, in this case, even if you're only 4 or 5 years older, you're supposed to be the grown up. You're supposed to be the adult, because you're going to, potentially become the stepmother in the situation, which means you don't get to be a kid with her and be in competition with her and be like, oh yeah, I am going to get your daddy. No, that's not. She gets to be the kid and you get to be the grown up, because that's the role you've chosen, right? And so if that's the role you've chosen, then you don't be in competition with her. What you do is you show her there's no need for her to feel competitive with you, because you're not trying to take her daddy away. You're adding a friend for her into this household. Now, someone who can more closely relate to you. So now when you come to daddy does his best to love you, but mostly he can do the gifts and stuff. Maybe you might need someone to talk to. Maybe she could be that person for you. So if that's where this is all coming from, whereas hey, listen, you and this girl just can't get along, recognize that she's supposed to be jealous of you. That's what it is. So you're supposed to show her there's nothing to fear. You're not going to take her father. And from it sounds like to me, everything that's built up, and again, maybe she triggered it. I'm not saying she all innocent. She's 21, but again, show her that there's nothing to fear, and that hey, listen, if she don't want to fight you don't want to fight her. Listen, we can be cool. I could be a friend. I could be a confidant. I could be like an auntie or whatever.
And I like to point out the steps that are involved here. Right now, it's a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. If there was going to be something else, they were going to move in together, which will be the next step. And then after that, if they decide, then it would be marriage. So you definitely have to figure out what are you going to do for this next step.
Right.
Now, you're not married. You have a child. He has a child. You cannot demand. You have no say. You really don't. You have no say. He's taking care of what he's supposed to take care of, which is his child.
Yes.
That's his responsibility. Now, when it comes down to you, Miss Girlfriend, you're extra. If he can't afford you, guess what? You would leave, and he would leave you, whichever one would come first. So don't never try to, consider him dropping his blood, his seed. It's not fair.
Right.
That's not fair at all.
I'd actually like to throw in there and say that, there's a high chance that her relationship with him is not based on love, and that she's just using him. I mean, guy steps in and he decides that he wants to help you out, and you're in this really, really bad situation where you can't afford your own bills, much less to feed your own kid. Well, of course you're going to take the hand, and but she mentions the money with the child, right, and how the child doesn't appreciate anything, but she doesn't even mention how he feels about things. So I don't even think she knows how he feels, which means she probably doesn't have that deep of an emotional connection with him.
Did she mention how she feels? Like, did she mention that she loves him?
No, she didn't mention that.
No. You're right.
The only thing that sounded for certain to me, because it didn't sound like there was any struggle or any problem, was with him having it. He's able to provide for his daughter all of these, things that he has, for her, cars, in a short amount of time, going on her third car. That's his daughter. He can afford it, and it does not seem to be draining him. Also, he's helping this grown woman with her and her child, and he's apparently paying her rent where she's at. So he has it. There's absolutely no problem there. The only problem that there seems to be is that this woman doesn't like the what he does for his daughter. And that's where it just needs to be shut down. If, he's running around and, he's paying the cost to be the boss, zip it.
I'm just saying that the emotional background doesn't seem like it's there.
She never said that her and the daughter got into arguments. This might be her own personal feelings. And she's like, let me write into Char and, and you know, get some advice before I take it to another level. She didn't mention that they argue about this, you know, but like I say, I really get the feeling that they're close in age, and that the woman who wrote the letter had it a little bit tougher than the daughter, because the daughter seems to just, you know, have it quote unquote made, because she has no responsibility. You know, this woman has this small child, and, you know, we don't know where the father is, if she's receiving child support, or if, you know, he's abandoned her with this child, you know, or whatever the case is, you know.
Well,
So she, you know.
You know what, though, Vonda, to be fair, first of all, so when you're talking about that automatic competition that's sparked in that's evolved into women, it happens literally during the time that women can have babies. So in essence, she would feel that competition, whether she was a few years older than the daughter, or whether she was 37. As long as she could still produce babies, right, she still feels that automatic mate competition triggered for other women she sees as adult women, and therefore as competition. Although in all fairness, right, I mean, even small children, they're competition for resources, because you want to have children, or you already have children, you want to have more children, and ultimately the man that you're with is going to provide for those children. But the more children he has to provide for, right, the more places his money has to go, the less money you get, right? Your percentage, you might always get 50%, but your 50% is a lot less money when, you know, it's being divvied up across the board to more places. So, you know, I think that, to me, and this is a big thing, because Shadra said it, and I thought about it, and I'm like, you know what, I think that it's a good thing. Like, she didn't say at any point, she never spoke about his feelings, and she never spoke about her own feelings. She never spoke about anyone's feelings. Like, she never said, I love this man so much, right? Or, you know, we're so in love. I mean, that's how these relationship type things always have somewhere, either it starts or it's roped into there somewhere, where they say, I love him so much, but I don't know if we are going to make it, or something. She never said that. And so then it made me think of, because this is actually true, to an extent, again, people overgeneralize things. They overgeneralize things, but it is true, right? That we want to make babies with people that we find genetically perfect, genetically beautiful. Why? It's like, it's a trigger thing. That's why the people who are the most genetically compatible with you, that would make the most genetically beautiful babies, those are the ones that you see them and automatically on the spot, like, you are just dumbfounded, like, God damn, right? And your friends might not feel that way, but you definitely do. That's what that's about. It's an automatic thing. It's just triggered in our brain. It evolved to be that way. But we know that there's a difference between the 9s and 10s of the world, right? And then providers, right? 9s and 10s don't have to be providers, because they can make 1,000 children and know that they will be well cared for and well provided for without their hand in it. And so they know that. They're kind of socially trained that way. They've evolved to be that way. They're that way. And then there are men who are providers. They will take care of children. They will take care of families. They will take care of people. You know, and what she might have found in this man is a provider, right? So he's all right. Like, you know, am I madly in love with him? Nah. Am I even in love with him? Nah. But I care about him. He's cool. Like, he's a cool guy. I could sleep with him, you know, once a week or so, and, you know, maybe give him a kid, and, you know, spend the rest of my life with him. He's all right, right? And it feels like, it's like, he's all right. If only he wouldn't give, you know, my money away to his daughter. This would be a match made in heaven, right? Yeah, no, just that's what it seems like. So,
My money.
You know, yeah, my money away to his daughter. Like, what's up?
You know what, Ruby? That's why I like you. That is why I like you, because the way that you think is just like, I mean, I did not even think of it like that, because I'm not thinking in those terms. But
Yeah.
that could very well be what was in her mind. You're absolutely correct. You know, and I think because I always have a tendency to always put myself in it, and I've been working on that. I've been working very hard on that, especially being around these YouTube streets, because you cannot interject yourself into it. Because if you do, you're going to be offended, you're going to be appalled, and your feelings are going to be hurt. You just can't do it. It has absolutely nothing to do with you.
Right.
Nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to look at things objectively. And, you know, I'm usually very good at it, but some of the things you hear on YouTube, what the hell? Wait a minute. Until you until you figure out it's a losing battle, because you let people think what they want to think.
Right.
You know, you don't get yourself all in that. But I did want to touch on a comment and from the chat. And Ori, she said, if he really had the money, why would he ask her to move in order to save money? I don't think this man has money. Now, my thing is with that is that, you know, I don't know where they live, but if you're paying 2 houses worth of rent and mortgage, why would you not want to eliminate it, especially with someone that you're spending so much time with? Like, we're always together, you and, you know, little Billy is over here. Why do I need to be paying, you know, all those bills over there when that money can go over here, you know, to my daughter, not to you?
Why do I want to spend an extra $1,000 a month on anybody?
Exactly.
It's not even just 1,000, because when you take rent, bills,
and
which I'm going to be paying anyway, right? I'm going to be paying them anyway. I got a house. I got room for you.
Yeah.
Right. For you and your kid, who I'm feeding and clothing and providing for as well. So, I mean, I think that's the thing.
You're adding, you're putting a 2 on a 10. We don't know. This woman could be getting child support for this child. We don't know if this man is completely supporting her, or did she say that he was?
She said, yeah, she actually did say, she said majority. So she might be getting a little something from the government, from child support, but it's certainly not the majority of her money at all. The majority of her money is him. He is supporting. She did say that he's mostly supporting her. And so, because she said mostly, I'm like, okay, she must be getting maybe a little bit of child support or something.
Yeah, she must be getting some sort of income from somewhere then.
Yeah, she's probably, child support and welfare probably, you know, tossing her a little bit of money, but that's not the majority of what's paying her rent currently and feeding her and providing her lifestyle, right? He is.
Right.
The support that she gets from him makes things comfortable for her, you know, because I guess without him, you know, there was that struggle, you know, trying to pull those 2 ends together. And sometimes there was a gap. You know, and you know, he fills in the gaps and some surpluses, you know, gives her some surpluses.
Right, more than comfortable though, because like you said, the surpluses, that I think that is the thing that she is most concerned about, right? But I wanted to be able to go on vacations. I wanted to be able to tell my girlfriends, look where he took me, girl. You see how I went to so and so place? I think that is her issue. Like, how dare you take that away from me, right? Your daughter doesn't deserve a car more than I deserve a vacation. I've had a hard year. That's what it is.
Look, this is just being realistic. You know, I get what you're saying with that, Sister Ruby, but let me just say, if me and my man, and see, there I go injecting myself. There I go.
Exactly. You see it now. You see it now. Okay.
I'm gonna pull back. I'm gonna pull back. Now I'm looking at her in her relationship, and I feel if he promised her a vacation and they made plans that they were going to do this, but then Ariana done went and wrecked her car again and she needs a 3rd car. I'm just gonna think, you know, for her, if she says, you know what, I think Ariana needs to wait, you know, for her car, you know, it's not an emergency. Not like she has to get up and go to work. She has to get up.
But wait, hold on. Talk about interjecting facts. First of all, no one ever said nothing about this chick wrecking 1, 2, 3 cars. First of all. Second of all, though, what is a bigger priority? Someone having a car, so you're going to pay $3,000 for a car that they're going to be able to use every single day. Hold on, every single day. Okay, to be able to get one of those jobs you finally want her to do, to be able to take care of herself, grocery shop, do all that stuff herself more easily and protected, and not walk in the streets, you know, the way her father doesn't want her to be doing. So what's more important, spending that $3,000 on a car or on a week of sun for you?
Ariana is not doing anybody's grocery shopping. She is not grocery shopped for anything in that household, I'm sure.
I don't think they live together. I don't think that she lives with the father. It didn't sound like that. It didn't sound like.
I don't pick from that either. Yeah.
No, I think she lives by herself.
Getting Uber Eats. Dad is paying for her Uber Eats.
Well, listen, if you want her to have a job, okay, maybe they live somewhere though where it's not feasible.
So Dad is paying everybody's rent.
No, well, yeah, probably, right? But it's probably she might live somewhere where it's not actually feasible for her to take a bus to and from work, right? And so like if you really want to be able to get to one of those salons and work and whatever, feasibly you're either taking a cab or you're driving yourself or you're getting ride from a place because people live places like that, right? So in and of itself, though, it comes down to me that a car for $3,000. Right? Or a vacation for $3,000. One lasts a week, benefits only 2 people, and it's fun in the sun and whatever. You get pictures and memories for life. Or you have a car that gets you to and from a job, and you have that car for years and years and years, every day. So to
Stop
me,
it. Stop
to
it,
me,
Tony.
which one should be the priority? A car for his daughter or a vacation for his not living girlfriend? Things that make you go, things that make you go, Really? Come on, stop it.
I would like to interject slightly. No
Yes,
one
sir.
said the vacation was canceled. It would just
That's
be
true.
postponed.
That's true. No one even said that. She was just concerned it might be.
Hey, we just assumed just like you padded that letter with fur coats and all that other stuff. We just assume we're filling in.
No, because real talk, what she said was what she was concerned. She thought her vacation that they planned was based on his tax check. So when he said he's going to spend his tax check on the daughter's car, then she got worried that means she's not getting her vacation anymore. And she's had it up to here. So she had to write into Char about it. Like, that's really what she actually said. Okay. I mean, really, like, that's what she actually said. So that's where I got my fur coats thing from. Because if you listen to what she said, no one took anything away from her. She's just concerned there's a chance she might not get her fun in the sun over the daughter's check, and how dare the daughter again take her money away from this man, right? Yeah, like that's supposed to be reserved for her when she has a whim. I got a whim. I want to go on vacation. Hey, baby, that's when she gets all nice, right? Baby, I would love to see Cuba, baby. Hey,
they may have planned this. It may have been a plan, and she wanted to stay with the plans. You can't fault her for wanting to stick with the plans.
Girl, you know how many plans I had this year? Listen, first of all, ain't nobody went on vacation. She can't leave the country because COVID happened before spring happened. So one way or the other, she wasn't going anywhere this year anyway. But so everyone had all kinds of plans. Everyone was disappointed this year. Disappointments happen. You know what? No one got a car either. You know why? Because the DMV closed before spring. So again, right? Everyone had to go through disappointments this year. And that's what life is. Life is going to be about disappointments, but it's also supposed to be about priorities. And so actually, to me, I would rather have a man who would prioritize a car over a vacation, because that's a man who thinks in a practical sense, and thinks about our long-term well-being over a short-term pleasure. I would rather a man who will continue to guide us in that way, because I might get flippant, I might get flighty, I might get, silly and selfish and short-sighted, and I'm hoping that he would keep me on that long-term road. No, babe, if we get a car, then we can do this, and that's going to lead us to here in 5 years, which is where we need to be. That's more important than the vacation right now, right? Vacation time can come later. So to me, actually, that is a man with a little bit more sense. Now, if it was roles reversed and she needed a car, but instead the daughter is going to get a vacation to Fiji with her best friends, you might have a semi-argument there, right? Well, he promised you a car so you could start working for yourself, and instead now he's going to send his daughter to Fiji because her friends are going and she just absolutely has to go. Okay, you have an argument there. But the other way, not so much. I'm sorry. Listen. I think she needs to find a man that she truly, genuinely enjoys him in his situation. So whether it's the kids he does have that she enjoys, whether, the family he does have, the fact that he doesn't have a family, but that she enjoys him and enjoys his situation.
Also,
that's what it is.
Let's look long term at this.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't trust his judgment now, which means she'll be questioning his judgment every step of the way if she moves in with him.
Right.
Yep.
This is going to cause countless fights because, what was that?
I think she did the right thing because, she's asking for advice. You know, she's conflicted with this. She doesn't want to ruffle the feathers. She doesn't want to, you know, put waves in the water. You know, she's like, hey, you know, how should I approach this? You know,
I wouldn't either, because he's feeding her kid.
Exactly. Like, she doesn't want to risk her bank account closing. Right? They're gonna close out her account now. She can't really have that. You know, she needs to feed her baby somehow. So, you know, and that's part of the issue though, again, right? Is why is she doing what she's doing? It doesn't sound like it's I don't want to rock the boat because I love this man so much. Because if that's what she meant, that's what she would have said. But that's not what she talked about. I didn't hear her mention love.
well, she wrote in for a specific problem, you know. She left out the fluff.
Really, Vonda?
I don't usually do this, but I'm going to quote Ori in the chat.
Me, Ruby.
She doesn't accept this man for who he is at all.
Yep. She doesn't. She doesn't accept him. She doesn't respect him. And so as a result, and this is what it comes down to, right? Hey, people want to talk about the roles of submission and leadership. She would never submit to this man ever, which tells you again that she's not with this man for him to lead her, for him to be the head of a household that involves her, him, and her son and his daughter. No, because she doesn't trust his leadership. She doesn't trust his direction. She doesn't trust his judgment. I mean, that in and of itself, that's all that there is to it. This relationship could not function. It just couldn't. And this is where I say to people though all the time, like sometimes with relationships, people have to come into the relationships with similar points of view on life. You know, whether it's religion or diet and exercise or whatever it is. And in this case, it has to do with, you know, his grown ass child or grown ass children in general or whatever, right? Like, how do you see that kid? Do you think that kid should be, you know, coddled and baby and whatever? And you might think nah, but at the same time, you roll your eyes at him. You're like, he's such a softie, right? You could have that response. Right? You know, but he's gonna do it. He's just a big teddy bear. I get him. I love that. Or not. She don't love it. So yeah, don't move in. You know, don't.
I totally agree with that.
Don't let the relationship move forward. To me, I would not allow this relationship to move forward at all. And if you stay in the relationship, not moving in, you know, you're just using him as an ATM until you find another secure source of resources, and that's not fair.
Because the guy is, he's providing. He really is. So my question is, if you trying to have a blended family, what are you going to contribute to that daughter? Are you going to talk with her, encourage her, since she taken the classes and not using her license? I guess she's licensed for it. Are you going to encourage her? You going to talk to her? I mean, because you have to have a relationship with her. That's that man's daughter.
Right.
That's something to deal with too.
Yeah. Yep. And you don't want to be in the situation where you've made yourself such an enemy that by the time you marry this man or whatever, basically what you've done is you've torn this man apart because, you know, his daughter and his wife hate each other. His daughter and his wife are enemies. His daughter and his wife, he's hearing on one side about why his wife ain't shit, and on the other side he's hearing how his daughter ain't shit, and he has to sit there and be in the middle of that. You know, it's funny, at one point, you know, my mom told me, but I don't know what happened. My mom's husband had been in a situation where he was dating a woman for a long time, loved her so much, whatever. And she had a 16-year-old daughter at this point. And the 16-year-old daughter saw him as an adversary and used to lie on him all the time and basically set him up for the mom to be mad and whatever. And they would gang up on him and, you know, make him look crazy, make him look like a liar, make him look like a criminal, all kinds of things. Just, it was really terrible for him. So, you know, when he met my mom, I was just, you know, a few years older than that. And, you know, at first we were really cool, actually. I'll tell that story another time about how we met him. But
Okay.
he was a plumber on the contracting job we had refinishing the basement. So it was just like random that he happened being in our house. But we were cool at first. Like, in fact, he used to slip me $50 bills. I loved that. He was like, yeah. Yeah, going out tonight. Yeah, right. I love whenever this guy who's courting my mom would come by. I'm like, yeah, I know I'm about to get a 50. Right. So I loved it. But after they got married, it was about a year or two in, and he just came at me about something that I found, I guess, relatively small at the time, and he just came at me and kind of defaced my whole name, my whole life, and it was just like, what the hell? What happened? And I was really hurt and shocked and offended, and but then it kind of like we fixed it. Okay, I'm gonna move on. This is my mom's husband. I'm gonna show him respect anyway, and whatever. And then it kept happening. And I figured it all ties back to that experience he never really healed from with this woman and her kid. And he was talking so badly about me behind my back a couple years ago, and my mom just got tired of it. And she said, listen, if you ever say even one more bad word against my kid, ever again, I'm divorcing you. Even one, I'm divorcing you. And that's it. He's never done it again. Because and what was that, 10 years into their relationship? So,
Wow.
and I mean, and my mom is not, she's a pastor. She's not the divorcing kind. She loves her husband. She wants to spend the rest of her life with him. But if you do that, if you put a person and you try to pit them against their kid, eventually they're going to put their foot down. Eventually they're going to fight back. And that's what happened in this case. She's like, nope. And so this woman, she might even, and this is the thing, a lot of people do this, right? And they think that they've won when they do win. But eventually a time is going to come. A time is going to come where they're going to put their foot down and they're going to turn on you, because it's not natural for someone to, suddenly become an enemy with their kid over some new woman, over some new man. It's not going to happen. Not in the long term.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the panel, Miss Regina. Would you like to weigh in on the conversation?
Hey, Miss Regina.
Hey,
Hey,
Regina, my
Hey.
sunshine. How are you?
Doing well. Good evening, Char and Miss Vonda and Miss Classy Ruby and Brother Chandra. Good evening.
Hey,
Good
girl.
evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. Yeah. Okay. Oh boy. There's a lot of valid points brought up. I'm so glad that I heard the conversation about her being selfish. The person that wrote in, how dare you tell a man about what he's gonna do with his money with his daughter? He could spend the whole bank, just go in there and cash out on everything. That's, if he does that and then there's no room for a trip, then you know where you stand. You know where you stand with this man. If y'all not going to Jamaica or Aruba, wherever you want to go, if it's not gonna happen, it's not gonna happen because he bought her a car. That's not gonna happen. And how you need to move on. The other thing that stands out too is the rearing of children. Yes, we all have different ways of how we rear our children, and so as Char mentioned, he may be trying to play catch up or trying to make up for lost time or whatever. Maybe he just feels like, I've known men that are been in their daughter's life since birth, but I'm going to be the man that takes care of her. And it could be parents that are with the mother and parents without. So I've seen both scenarios. And there's fathers who are just like that. Um,
Okay.
I've seen mothers who dote on their sons, like she possibly will, when he gets older, when her son gets older, and oh, he needs a car. Heard that earlier. Oh, he needs a car. He's just 18. Yeah, well, he needs to work for it, or whatever. It just depends on that. For me, I just heard something, and that's what triggered me to chime in a little bit. I was the opposite parent. I am the opposite parent. I'll put it like that. I asked my daughter to move out. If you I don't you're not gonna disrespect me. You're not gonna disrespect my home and continue to stay here. You can't do here. You can't do that. Yes, it did hurt. Yes, it took that was when it wasn't tough love, it was beyond tough love. To ask my daughter to do that. But I knew that I had to set boundaries with that one. Each child is different. I have three. So that one I knew I had to set the boundaries with. With the other ones, I just had to put my foot down and just say, this is what you're gonna do, or this is what it is, and you're gonna go. And yes, I did. Just as brother, you guys mentioned it, DeAndre did. Just DeAndre said, here's your timeline, here's your date. I'm gonna give you. I don't want your rent money. I don't want anything. You save that. This is for you to move out. You get your job. Because you're not gonna just lay up here on the couch. That's one thing. You're either gonna work or you're gonna go to school. One or the other. And then you're gonna here's your timeline. You got a year. And then at that year, if we need to reevaluate for another 6 months, but other than that, you got to go. This is not where you're gonna stay. I need my privacy, and obviously you need yours if you think you're going to come in here, and regardless of how old you are, 28, 24, 26, 23, all of my children are young adults now. So you want to come in at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, you do it at your house. You won't do it here. So that's all I had to input. That was my input.
But now here, I have a question for you.
Sure.
So let's say, you start dating some man, right? And y'all have been dating for a couple of years. I'm even going to take out the fact that you financially support him or you financially. So let's take that out.
Okay.
But he tells you, right? So for the daughter, so for you got the one child that needs to go. Right, but the other children are following the rules, so therefore, okay, they're working or they're going to school and they can live in your house or whatever. And he says, well, you know what, they're too old for them to be living here. They need to get out. Because that, and even if he has good reasoning behind it or whatever, would you, because he told you to, put your kids out?
No. Okay, so no, I'm putting them out. No, they have a timeline. Before he even got here, they have a timeline. This is not where you come. This is not Motel 6. This isn't Super 8. This isn't, this is no. I am the fallback in case you need it, but this is not where you're going to reside. This is not.
Right.
I've made that clear. They knew that. They've known that since before high school, when they were little. Well, Mom, what if?
When they were little.
Yes.
No, you gotta go when you're big.
I know you gotta go.
Yes, when you're big, you gotta go.
They know, and the conversation was like, okay, so when you graduate high school and you go off to college, and then if you decide to go off to college, then Mama give you a year to come back and get yourself together, get your job or whatever. But that's it, and then you're on your own. That was the conversation.
Right. Early. Okay. So that's the conversation that you made early, right?
Yes.
So now, before, let's say, a couple years before the child graduates from school. Right, with high honors, for the record. You start dating a man. You gotta slide something good in there for them. You start dating this man, right? So now 2 years goes by. So now she's gonna graduate. She's gonna move home. He goes, move home? Yeah. No. She's grown. She got a degree. She needs to go find herself an apartment. She can't live here.
Oh,
right? That's what I'm asking. As in, so now which one is more important? You have this new relationship, and sure, you might be the head of the household, the household y'all are about to build and whatnot, but you made a promise to your daughter already as far as the way life was going to be. So she's made a whole life plan around how you told her life is going to be. And he's saying, nah, her life starts now. When she gets out of school in the next three weeks, or, let's say the next 30 days, she better go find herself an apartment and a job, because that's what she's doing. Which one wins here? Your word or his?
Okay, so that would have to be different scenarios for me. And I'm just saying for me, because I'm the breadwinner, because I have been this whole time, throughout their college days and all of that, I've been able to have that say so. So they come here, it's going to be for their year and whatever. But if I had to move in with him, say for instance, and now he's the breadwinner, then can we negotiate something?
Right.
Can we do maybe not necessarily a year, maybe 6 months? Can we negotiate something? Because this is how I raise my children. And then if that's not an option, then I'm going to have to work something with my daughter, and depending on what level of status of the relationship is. If usually if I've made the decision to move in with somebody, or I'm on their dime now, and I'm dependent upon them, because that's the way I feel about this letter. You're depending on this individual. Yes, I'm willing to make that sacrifice now. Yes, I'm willing. I'm willing to make that sacrifice.
Right. You're willing to take whatever comes with it.
And what comes with that. Yes, it's okay. I would say it would be okay to make that adjustment at that time, because, okay, sweetie, that was then. Mommy's not paying the bills now. Mommy's not doing,
that's a different situation.
It's a different situation, a different scenario now. So can we compromise? Can we compromise? Especially if we are on a path, if me and the gentleman are on a path of moving forward. Yes, I really want to make amends. This is what I told them all their life. This is what they know. And they bring that to me all the time. Mommy, you said you told Teresa a year, and it's been a year and 3 months, and she's still there. They even throw it up. They even it's a year and 3 months, and she's still over there. Well, we renegotiated, and then when COVID hit, my daughter had an apartment, had her lease signed and everything, and then COVID hit. She lost her job, and so I was like, okay, I understand that now. Situations in life happen, and we do have to step back. But when you are not in control, and when you don't have you can have a say so, but if you don't have it financially and you're dependent on somebody else, you may have to
compromise.
Yeah, you got
to compromise, or you have to accept what it is.
What it is. That's right.
And what's so crazy about that is because I have taken care of myself a whole lot of years. And I'm sorry, the last man to take care of me was my dad. And so I'm not used to asking permission. I'm not used to saying, can I? And when I do what I do, it's not with nose up in the air. It's just as a matter of fact. Because I've always taken care of myself. So it's like, it's who am I going to discuss this with what what I'm spending my money on? I mean, there's no one to discuss that with. I'm just going to do it as long as all the other things are taken care of. I'm going to go ahead and do this. But to have that whole scenario flipped and, oh, I need to go shopping, or I need to that is so foreign to me. I can't even imagine. So for this woman to be in that vulnerable, I mean, that's extremely vulnerable. That's wide open, butt naked, vulnerable. For her to be in such a vulnerable position, zip it, sis. Shh. Don't be rocking the boat,
right?
Because my thing is that I speak freely and I can say what I want to say. I mean, what are the consequences? And I don't mean speaking freely as in being rude or disrespectful. It's never that. But when you're in a certain situation and you're dependent upon people, certain things you just don't have a say over. And if I feel like having a say, I'm going to have a say. But I mean, you pick your battles, you get older, you get wiser. You're like, okay, I'm not going to fight about everything. But I mean, that's not, my mind doesn't even work like that, which is why it's hard for me not to, interject myself. Cause I'm just, when you say these things, I'm like, I have to like turn the knob the other way. Cause I'm like, I'm just so not set like that.
Right.
Where someone else is, paying the cost to be the boss. I mean, that's something I learned from my dad. My dad would say, you got to pay the cost to be the boss. Well, I've been the boss for a lot of years, and I am the boss. But who am I announcing that to? I don't need to announce it. It's just what it is.
Right. And see, that's the other thing, and that's why I say it has taken me a while to say, hey, can we? That's if you heard me say, if we got to that point, can we sit down and discuss something different? Maybe not a year, but maybe 6 months, something like it's taken me a while to adjust to that as well. We want that we want that independence, but yes, we need that strength, and yes, we crave it. It's just hard to sometimes just adjust and fall back. And it's not really a fallback, but it's just if especially if you want to be with that person, that compromise should be that
especially in
desire,
those type of tough situations like we just spoke about.
that desire to want to compromise, though, should be there. That's what I said. I had to think about that.
Absolutely.
That's why I had to think about it. Yeah.
And like I say, you answered that so well, Miss Regina. I mean, because you're like, well, yeah, I'd have to tell her, look, Mama's in a different situation, and I was like, yeah, that is true. I would have just been like discombobulated because, like I said, my mind just doesn't work like that. But I mean, that is true. That is true. You just be like, hey, wait a minute, because I've been like, oh, but I said, and you like, no, wait a minute, Mama's situation is different. So we're gonna see what we could do. You may not get the 12 months, you might get 6 months, but it's better than nothing. Because this is what Mama can do for you. I love you, and I do, and I've always been there for you. But my situation is different. You wasn't like I'm gonna be over here kicking up dust with my man. Because these are my kids. I told them, look, you like, hey, can we compromise?
Right.
You answered that beautifully. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's true. Because like I said, I'm just like, my mind, I'm just trying to turn it. It just doesn't work that way. But yeah.
Yeah, we can do like this. We have to work, especially if it's somebody that you want to be with, because I think I saw earlier in the chat where somebody said she probably evidently this is not who she wants to be with. She's either using him for financial gain or for whatever. I got this man and he's taking care of me and my kid just for whatever say so. Maybe this isn't the fit for you. Maybe this isn't. Because if this has rattled your cage, it's gonna be some more times where the daughter's gonna come and, well, I need this and the brakes don't work and I need oil change and whatever. It's gonna be plenty more with it. And I love it. Somebody else said it does not. You rearing your children does not end at 18. It does not.
Oh, rarely does it. Rarely does it.
It does not.
I know. Ask Mama Ruby. Just ask Mama Ruby. No, but you know what? For real though, because what happened is, I was an adult for about 45 seconds. But then what happened? I developed this sudden illness out of the blue that took me from being, entirely independent to suddenly not only can I not like pay bills, go to school, do anything, but I suddenly need a bunch of medication that I can't afford with no drug plan. What the hell am I supposed to do? That suddenly became my mom's problem with me, right? Now, did she have to care? No, I guess she could have let me die in a gutter, right? But I'm her kid. So she didn't really want to do that. That didn't sound like an option to her. So, all right, well, pull out the credit card, see what we can do here. Now, what was my mother's husband, super happy about that? No, of course he wasn't. Why would he be? But that being said, he has 2 children. Do you not think that he makes sacrifices for those children? Right? Yeah. He sees it as totally reasonable because his kids are one of them's a little bit older now, but his other kids like maybe 14, so we've known him since he's a baby, right? So he sees it, well, that's a kid. That's absolutely true. And he sees himself, right? When he lived in Jamaica when he was growing up, right? He didn't come to Canada till he was in his 20s. Now, while he was growing up, right, he decided, he wanted some man rules to life, right? You can't tell me what time I come in and out, right? But except he can't say that because, a culture of respect. So it just comes down to, if you don't want to live under those rules anymore, well, then you can't live here. So he left at 15 years old. He left. Now,
Wow.
right, and he went and started his life at 15, and so he got himself to Canada and all that stuff, right? Now you think about that, and what I think is amazing about that, though, and what he doesn't process is, but you lived in Jamaica, where it is warm all year round, where you could sleep outside and not die all year round. I live in a country where they will go, and for 6 months of the year, they will try to scoop up as much homeless people off of the streets, because there's a good chance you will just die of frostbite, or of just, being it's too cold outside 6 months out of the year, right? Like, this is not a country that's super friendly to homelessness. A, B, this is not a country that you can just live on the land. You know what I mean? So you don't realize what you're taking for granted about your upbringing in Jamaica, and how much easier it was, especially back in those days, for him to have done what he did versus now.
Yeah.
In Canada, you can't just decide, you know what, I want to be a plumber. I've decided. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go be a plumber. I'm just going to show up at Mr. So-and-so's house and be like, hey, I remember someone told me you have a leaky faucet. Want me to take a look at it? You can't do that anymore, right? Like, that doesn't work. So, it's a little bit harder for you to just decide you're going to start something, especially like, as a kid, basically in Canada, right? So it's like, sometimes you have that generational barrier where people don't understand. Like, yeah, I understand things were like that when you were a kid. And I understand that makes sense as a rule as far as parents and children, but do you understand what the world is like today and what you're asking of these people? You think this someone's teenage son, he should be able to this, and this. Well, is that even an option in this day and age? Like, do you know? Or because sometimes people don't really look at that, right? What are the options? You think that this daughter should be able to XYZ, but is that actually an option for her? Or are you just assuming it's an option for her because it was an option for you when you were that age? A lot of people don't think about stuff like that, and unfortunately that creates a problem as well, because then when the kids are talking to the parents, the kids are telling the parents, well, I would, but, and they're explaining all this, and the parents are going, okay, it's okay, I got your back, then they're going to their spouse and saying, listen, he needs more time, listen, she needs more time, listen, da, da, da. No, you're just sticking up for them because you don't want to have my back, you don't want to support me as a man, you want to support me as a woman. That's why I said, listen, if you have someone who comes in and they see your kid as an adversary, and that's very clear, run in the opposite direction. Do not stay in that relationship. It's not that, no good can come from that.
That's right.
Never. Yeah.
And I actually think that, the main takeaway on this one is you've got to have three main things in a relationship. One, actually wanting to be with those people, because the relationship will not succeed if both people don't want each other. Two, communication, and three, respect.
Yeah. Agreed.
I think all three of these are lacking in the situation, and it should be dissolved as quickly as possible, because as I went on my diatribe earlier, she got a good man. But she's liable to ruin this good man if she stays with him.
Yeah. Yes. Yep. Exactly. Yeah. Turn that good man into my father-in-law. Or no, not father-in-law. Stepfather. There you go. Get those things. But you know what? And I think that's the thing too. We don't realize, again, so often, we are the creators of the bitter bee brigades and the da and the ancient dudes, and we create them. We create them with the selfish or bad decisions that we make that we could have prevented sometimes. He's soft and malleable, fine. He seems, based on, listen, the picture that got drawn in my head, he's a softie. Right? He loves him women in general, and I don't mean just in a sexual way. It's just he just likes female attention, like female energy, right? It makes him happy inside, right? He's probably a pushover for his mama too, and his aunties and his female. He's one of those guys, and he likes to cater to women. It makes him feel good inside. to be able to
And there's
provide for
nothing
women.
wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with that. If he, like I said, if he wants to spend the bank on her, and then if there's nothing left for you, but you then you know where you stand. But if he's still taking care of you and your kid, and he's
Right.
taking care of her, come on
You're
now,
good.
come
Mhm.
on,
Gucci, just
come
chill out, chick.
on,
Chill
come
out.
on.
Right.
Yeah, that's not the battle you choose. That's not the
No.
one. You pick
Mm-mm.
another one because that's not it. That's not it.
Yeah, but see, Vonda's saying chill out. I think that she needs to leave him and find someone on her level or close enough there too that they can struggle together because obviously what she's taking for granted what this guy's provided.
Mhm. Absolutely. I
But
agree.
someone that's usually taking advantage is not going to leave and say, "Oh, I can take advantage of that person. Let me go over and find somebody else." They're usually not going to do that. 9 times out of 10, if they're
Mm.
if they're seriously taking advantage of that person, they're not going to say, "You know what? No, I'm not getting my bang for my buck over here. Let me," unless something else, another situation or scenario would have to present itself. Another daddy with some Domino sugar instead of the Kroger brand or the Walmart brand
Said the domino. I
is going to
love
have to
that
show
sugar.
up. Is going to have to show up that to offer to sweeten the deal a little bit more before she leaves, and I honestly believe that. And it's
Mhm.
not too many, the men not knowing the age of the young lady or anything. If you have a 5-year old, we're gauging 35, 30 to 29, we're gauging right now, and
Mhm.
not too many men are just jumping on with the add water family and stir. That's not what too many men are jumping on. So yeah, it would have to be somebody selling the sweet sugar water. you know
Mhm. Well, you know what? Actually, that's something I would like to know now. I'm not trying to say it in the "what are you bringing to the table" kind of way, right? But
Uh-huh.
Mm.
I do want to know, what is she bringing to the relationship, right? Like,
Wow.
really,
Yes, I
I'm
would
I'm
love
very
to know that
curious.
too. I would
Wow.
Yep.
love to know
So
that.
you know what? Let's have a little bit of confidence in this man that he's just not just some sucker,
Okay.
that fell for a pretty face.
We trying, but yeah.
We
Mhm.
fine.
You know, just fall for a pretty face.
Okay.
And that, somewhere along the lines, this woman does, stroke his ego, and she, fulfills a part of him, and, outside of, the sexual realm,
I,
you know,
I,
so,
I
so
would
much, so
too.
much so that, he wants to, take care of her and her child. That's not his child.
Mhm.
I would like to think that sounds good, Fonda. You know what?
Mhm.
We gonna keep hope alive. We gonna
Right, keep hope alive.
really.
No, you know why? Because here's the thing, right? And this is my special issue is that when people feel entitled, and I do think that she feels entitled to this money. She feels entitled to the support. She feels entitled to that vacation from that they had in a brief discussion, right?
Mhm.
When people feel entitled to things, right? Then the first thing I want to know is there some validity to that entitlement, right? As in, are you actually providing something valuable enough to this relationship, that you know what? Yeah, you are entitled to something, anything,
Examples, please.
because
I need examples. Examples, please. I need
oh,
examples.
okay. So, for example, right? This is what we know about this woman so far, right? Is that they met 2 years ago. They are dating. They do not live in the same place. She lives in her own apartment with her and her 4-year-old son. And he pays for the majority of her bills
Mm.
and her rather comfortable lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
She does not provide him any type of obviously financial support as a result.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's and they do not live together. That's what
Right.
we know.
So
So
what is she
people who
bringing?
don't
She
right
bringing?
now what it sounds like to me, it's not even like they're sleeping over every day at one person's house or the other. Because I feel like if that was the situation, she would have wrote it in when she was talking about when he said, let's just move in together. So they're not currently even doing that. That means she's also not providing him, let's say, with, food service, right? Because like I have boyfriends who, yeah, we don't live together, or we don't live together yet, or whatever. But I cook for you every day. You might as well live with me because your ass is eating here every single day, and then half your clothes are here, so I end up doing your laundry and blah blah blah. So I want to know: are you cooking for him?
Yeah,
I want to know: are you cooking for him? Are you doing his laundry? Are you ironing his shirts? Are you what are you doing for him? What are you returning in this relationship? What is I guess, what is the work that you are doing currently, besides you're raising a child that's not his, that entitles you to a vacation from him, right? Like, you are entitled to a vacation. You've had such a long, hard, arduous life, right, of raising a child that's not his. So that has nothing to do with him. So he doesn't owe you a vacation for raising someone else's child. So, but he owes you a vacation. You feel everyone keeps saying that, well, she feels entitled to it. Okay, because of a discussion. Well, no, because of what she's done in the relationship. Okay, then what has she done? That's what I want to know. Is she actually being wife quality and wife level to him, even though she doesn't have wife status? Or is she being basically like the casual girlfriend who feels entitled to all his money? That's what I want to know.
Ruby, I've been saying it this entire time. WAP.
WAP. Yep. That's not enough. Sorry, in this day and age, is not enough, because all you got to do is go onto Tinder. Trust me, he can find 10 in a 10-mile radius. You didn't even have to pay for them. You didn't have to pay for them. Right here, boom.
He likes her WAP. So something about her WAP that just
you say, not the WAP. Hey,
got him hooked. Hey. Maybe he don't want to be, up in a lot of different WAPs. He like the one WAP he got.
Yeah.
So that's what she's providing, and you know what? I don't mind taking care of her, but it would be a lot better if she moved in over here. And with that being said, if she chooses to move in, it's like, sis, you need to Hirsch.
Shut your mouth.
Don't get into the business between him and his daughter.
That's right. Because eventually that may get old. I think, because I know my ex is going through that right now. She can get out. I ain't putting, that's going to get old. Eventually, but they have to experience that. Right. That's not for you to step in and say, or even try to have an input on that. And I love what Ori said. She's bringing a whole lot of audacity. That's for real. How dare you? That's what she's bringing. Yeah, because no, this is not the time. That's not the place. That's not your battle, honey. I would say step back, or step off. One of the two. Take your pick.
Well, here's my thing. If all you're bringing is WAP, then you aren't entitled to anything. Count your lucky ass stars that he is giving you what he is giving you and taking care of your child that is not his. And shut your mouth.
Whatever it is that he gives her.
Right.
Exactly. That's all he's entitled to. When she already gets it, she's entitled to it.
She's entitled to that. And you know what? Accept that and keep it moving.
Yeah.
So, until you improve your status, and we're not going to act like, if she marries this man, her status does not improve.
Right.
It does improve. Her stock goes up, with this man in this relationship. Right. So just, hey, play your part where you're at in the game that you're in.
Right. So Char, this letter didn't happen to come from Texas, did it? Because I need to find if he ain't. I need to know.
It's anonymous, but it was written in January. If that helps.
I was just trying to put my bid in just in case he was listening. I don't know.
No, yeah, but I want to make that clear, because people don't realize, and I do think that, right? So if you are giving, right, wife quality wife level relationship. That is to say, you're not just sitting there providing the WAP and then letting him take care of you, but no, you are actually, again, you are also taking care of him. I mean, not financially, but in a bunch of other ways. You're feeding him again. Do laundry for him. You do some ironing for him. When you're at his house, you just pick up because hey, it's a mess. Let me just straighten up. Do a little. You're taking care of him. You're remembering things for him. You're running errands for him. Like if you are actually giving him a wife level experience, even though you don't have the rings and whatnot, right? And then you want to tell me you think you're entitled to something from him. Right? Like he should follow through on the promises that he makes me, because you know what? I dedicate myself to him. Right?
And
That's
then,
one thing. If you
and
aren't
improving
doing
the
that
quality of his
though,
life.
and right, exactly. But if all you are doing is, again, he just happens to like your WAP and you don't really feel like looking for another one. So as a result, he gives you a real high quality. You're basically like a sugar baby with a better title. And that's all it is. Like
he probably at least likes her. I mean,
but
she didn't talk about that. She didn't say the man likes her. She didn't say she likes the man.
Well, she
so I don't
know. into her issue. She wanted to get to the crux of things,
Honestly, I really feel like most of these topics that had anything to do about a relationship, someone said, I love my man, or I love my woman, but right, like we were just talking about the one a few weeks ago, right? And it's like there's so much love, but right? So everyone, that's the thing. People always want to validate their relationships when they're in love. They feel the need to tell you that, right? And then they say but, and then you're like, that's funny. But at the end of the day, right, people feel the need to tell you that. They want you to understand that they really love their husband, or they really love their wife, or whatever. But she cheated on me and I can't get over it. What do I do? Right? So then you're right. It's like, I want to get to the crux of my problem. But let me just first validate how much I love this person that has torn me apart, or is that's bothering me, or that whatever, right? To me, this really feels like her whole point was to write into Char to get someone to validate her false sense of entitlement. She was entitled to that vacation. She's entitled to that man's money. She's entitled to that. All of the money that's going to the daughter should be funneled to her because she's the girlfriend, and that's a higher status than daughter somehow in her head. I don't know. And so yeah, she wanted some type of validation on that. And when you're in a relationship and all you're looking at is the entitlement, and all you're looking at is like the hierarchy and beating out the daughter for being numero uno, that's not the right relationship for you.
And something, Ruby, and then just to clarify, I know you said, what she's bringing to the table. It doesn't always have to be food for nourishment, but food for his soul. Where can he find his solace? Bring it in. If you come home, this is where you find your peace. This isn't where you're going. It's not only just feeding his soul, feeding him physically, but feeding his soul as well. This isn't just about what I can do, and I know how to wash, I know how to iron, but I do know how to bring comfort. I know it. Okay, baby, I'm here to listen, or what can I do to help you advance with this business? Where can I be? Where can I fit in to help make this process move forward in his business life? If that's where he wants to insert her. Now, that's the other thing too. If that's where he wants to insert her. But be there for him in other spaces as well.
Right.
Yeah, I would hope that if he is keeping her around the way that he is, and he is providing for her the way that he is, that, she would be providing more than just some WAP, I was being a little facetious, earlier, but I would think that this woman was providing him with a little bit more. Like I said, there's a whole lot that we don't know.
Yes, you would hope, right?
Yeah, there's a whole lot we don't know. We're just assuming, but I would just hope, and my thing is if not, to me, it's not even worth it, but, to each his own, and that's where I have to stop interjecting myself.
Yes.
Wow. See, what's happening here is that we would. Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead.
You first.
No, I said the zip code in Texas is 75146. In case he's listening, but go ahead. Anyway,
um, and so, but I think even if she's not doing all these things, this is a guy who's looking at the situation. He has a chance to help the woman. He has a chance to help the child.
Mm-hmm.
Man, he may see, the child as potential, or he may see himself in the child, or whatever the case is. And she may not be doing everything for him, but he's also taking the child into account. This child still
mm-hmm,
needs a father figure. This child still needs to eat, right?
Mm-hmm.
mm-hmm. And
This
that's
might
another
just be a
reason why
genuinely
she was
nice guy,
showing up.
or he could
That's,
be, he could be that dreaded S word that keeps getting thrown around. But
This is it.
Mm.
yeah,
Zip,
another reason. That was it.
zip, zip.
Yeah, zip it up. That's right.
Yep. You
Yeah,
know
that
what? I think this, right? Too. And this is the important part. Again, to me, I really I do think that if these qualitative things were important, as if she was doing them, or it was important for her that she was receiving them from him, she would have mentioned this. The fact that she doesn't mention it, to me, again, I find it concerning that you've been with the man for 2 years. You know, he's taken you on financially, and yet you've mentioned none of that. You didn't mention how he's a good father figure. You didn't mention what a good man he is. You didn't mention how in love you are with him, or vice versa. Like, she didn't mention anything qualitative. You know, this is all about, I am entitled to this man's money and his
wow.
daughter is not. And I just thought that,
Wow.
to me, that is a very strange way of approaching it. I understand, cut and dry. You don't want to talk about too much extra foolishness or whatever, but I'm like, normally it reads somewhere. It will read somewhere in some statements you make. Something about it. Something about him being a good man, a good role model, a good husband, a good whatever. I don't know. I feel like I know more about the fact that she wants vacations, and
Hmm.
luxury from him than I know what she wants as far as, like even like it sounds to me like he had to go. Baby, I want you to move in with me. I don't know about all that. I don't know if I want to be living with you, because you know what? I don't want to lose my independence. And then he went, "Come on, girl, it'll be cheaper. At least it'll be cheaper." So he said cheaper as a way to try to coax her and convince her to move in, right? Meanwhile, she's like, "I don't want to be living with this dude. Then he knows what I'm doing every day of the week." Da 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 da. Like, I feel it almost like she's a sugar baby. That's almost what it sounds like. Like,
Mm.
she's not
Mm.
putting more into it than a sugar baby. That's what it sounds like to me. I'm sorry, but
Mm. Mm. Wow.
I don't know. Tell me how I'm wrong.
No, no, not wrong at all. I see it too. I see it. You're absolutely right. When a woman knows when a man, you know what, he really has taken care of the kids. If someone was to step in and say, okay, here's your 3 kids, what we need to do. Okay, if she need to come and stay 6 months, that's what do you do? You acknowledge that up front.
Mhm.
Girl, ain't no way. I know I would have found a man that would come in and accept them. I got this one coming home from college in 2 more years. The next one will be coming home from college, and I promised her a year, you know.
Mhm.
If I have a man that accepts it, yes, that will be on the forefront of my conversation about him. That he's willing to be, he's okay with allowing them to come here for 6 months, and I appreciate that in him. However, and then go into but he does have this daughter. But you're right, that was not in her conversation at all. She did
Right.
not acknowledge what he's done, how he's done it. Well, she acknowledged he pays her bills, and that's the
Right.
selfishness we see again. Nothing about it. Like her son, his participation in his life, he goes and
Mhm.
picks him up from soccer practice or football practice.
Right.
Nothing. None of that.
Nothing. Mhm.
Nothing.
So
Yep.
we don't judge the woman on what she didn't say.
Look here.
Yes.
Look here.
Yes.
Uh-oh.
Look
Uh-oh.
here. A woman. Okay. If you would have, I want you to write in, and your younger girl, write in a letter to Char right now. And then write in
You
a
know what?
letter.
You know what, Miss Regina? I'm going to do that. I am going to
The
write
younger
Char a
girl.
letter. You guys, and it's going to be anonymous. Char is not
Okay.
going to tell you guys it's me.
Yes.
And you don't know if it's going to be the younger Vonda, older Vonda, the in-between Vonda. You're just going to get it. And I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
You know what? I said I was going to do that
All
too.
right.
That's why I said that. I was going to do that too. Yeah.
Hey, listen, y'all hear me. I will sit there. I will be the one person giving this person in the letter credit or something, and y'all will all be like, no. Because, right? So because I'm not just going by the facts of, like I said, it's not just what people put into the letter. It's what they don't put into the letter. It's how they phrase the letter, what they felt was important to mention and what they don't.
You have to be a little, you have to give it a little bit of, judge it a little loosely. At least, you know what, for me, I'm not going to say what you have to do. I judge it a little bit loosely.
Yeah, you can't tell me what to do. You ain't my mama. You don't pay my mama's bills.
Ruby. I just said. Y'all hear her? I just said. I can't tell you what to think. But
I love teasing Vonda. It's so much fun. She's so cute.
Okay.
I tend to judge it a little loosely, only because what? I try to look at the whole situation. And you know what? I have a really bad habit of interjecting myself. And like I said, I'm working on that. There are things that we know about ourselves.
Yes.
And we work on those. If we want to make them better or we want to change them, we work on them. Yes. And I'm being very, transparent with you guys. And I do tend to interject myself. And, I've read, this book called The Four Agreements by Louise Miguel. And the Four Agreements is a good book. I recommend it to anybody because it tells you, it has nothing to do with you. What someone does, what they say, how they act, it has absolutely shit to do with you. It has nothing to do with you.
So true.
So quit putting yourself in there like, oh, they looking at me all crazy. They are not thinking a damn thing about you. Move on about your business, lady. And wrapped up and what you're projecting on someone else. Mind your business. And you know what? And that takes a practice. If you're one that always tends to always be in someone's facial expressions or, oh, they said that kind of funny, and I tend to do that. But you know what? You have to go back to your meditations. And I call it meditation. For myself, it's a meditation. It has nothing to do with you. If it has something to do with you, they'll tell you. You'll get more clues. But chill out. It has absolutely to do with everybody.
The world does not revolve around you.
Yeah, exactly. You're not the center of the universe, honey. So chill out. So no.
Well, number one, I want to thank you all for joining today. We had a great conversation. We really went through the letter, different points of view, and I really appreciate that. Thank you for those that contributed to the channel. Thank you for your support. Again, happy birthday, DeAndre. Hope you have a great one.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, DeAndre. Happy birthday to you. Okay, sorry.
Happy birthday,
I'm
DeAndre.
done. I'm done interrupting now. I didn't know that. I didn't know all that. Come on. I always gotta say happy birthday to the people. Them. I have to. It's just me.
Yes.
All right.
And I hope you enjoy it. And guys, don't forget tomorrow is our 6:30 show at Central, and that's the article reactions. If you're able to swing by, come on by, check it out. We always have some interesting articles to share. And some interesting reactions too sometimes. So come on by and check that out. And other than that, hope to see you tomorrow. And I'll take us out with a little station identification. Yeah.
Yay.
Yay.
Thank you, Char.
Thank you.
And thank you. Peace.
Cheers, y'all.
Peace, y'all.
Cheers and peace.
Hey, Hey folks, it's your nighttime, it's your right time DJ Music. Make sure you join Char Willie each and every Saturday, 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central, for Article Reaction, right here on your local YouTube channel. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe to Article Reaction.